Hey guys, here's another episode of Day in the Life of Vintage Classic Specialist. Being a Thursday, I was in the shop by myself, so I focused on the very bright yellow Ghia today. Let's talk about what I did. Let's start up front and work our way back. That's kind of the order that I worked in it in. Went ahead and pulled the headlights. For those of you that have been following, you know we're going to do a complete rewire of this car, so just getting all the electrical things squared away, ready for an eventual rewire, although it may be a little while before we do that because we want to do some other things first. I'll talk about that later. But yeah, still just kind of working in the dash area here, getting it ready for the eventual rewire. So I went ahead and removed the switches. Hopefully they'll work. They probably do, but we'll go ahead and clean those up and get them ready. The fuse box actually doesn't look too bad. We'll remove that and clean it up. But I went ahead and kind of got the different wiring harnesses all sort of sorted out. So basically what we have here is, this is the harness, or excuse me, the steering column harness. So this is basically the turn signals and the ignition switch here. So we're going to reuse probably all this actually, because this is kind of hardwired into the ignition switch and the turn signal switch. The quality of the wires on these actually isn't too bad as far as being all brittle. So I don't see any reason to replace the turn signal switch if everything looks fine. Likewise, ignition switch should be fine. I'll look at it a little bit closer before we decide that. But anyway, that's kind of all isolated there, so that'll make it easy when we actually do go to start the rewire. This bundle here is the main harness that runs through the car to the back. And what else? I think that's kind of it. I already had the various front harnesses kind of isolated. So here's the passenger side lights. Here's the driver's side lights, and so on. So yeah, just kind of getting this squared away. Just the more kind of organized you get things before the rewire, the easier it makes it when you actually go to do it. I think so. I actually had a really good conversation with the owner of the car today, Jim. If you're watching, hey Jim. So we talked a lot about the car and what we want to kind of do on it. And one thing I mentioned is I would really like to paint this whole front area here with undercoating. It's kind of a rubberized undercoating. Those of you that watch the channel have seen me use it on other cars. It really looks nice. And you know, since this car was originally this kind of army green color, you open the hood and it just, I don't know, it it could look better. So I think we talked about it and we decided that I'll probably go ahead and take the time before I rewire it and paint all this with undercoating. And then probably the other thing we'll do is we'll go ahead and install the stock mats and wire cover. So actually all you'll really see when everything's installed is some of the sides here. But yeah, we'll get it painted with undercoating and it'll look really nice. The other thing that we talked about today was, you know, I was looking at these seat covers some more, and they're actually very nice with the exception of that. The material is surprisingly very soft and compliant. You know, a lot of times these get kind of crispy and there's no way to really use them, but the pads underneath aren't perfect, but I think they're actually okay. So I talked to my neighbor shop, Octavio, today, and we were kind of looking at the construction of these seats, and this is actually a seam line right here. So this panel here can be replaced, and then likewise the side of the seat that runs along here over the top and both down sides, or down both sides, that can be replaced too. So that's really it. The rest of the seat is in pretty remarkable shape. So he's actually going to the shop where we buy most of our upholstery material tomorrow, and he took the passenger side headrest with him. He's going to try and match kind of the grain of this vinyl and see if we can find something that's close enough that, you know, when the original stuff is all cleaned up and everything, and we'll armor all it and get it looking, you know, pretty much new, that the new material that we put here and here is going to be a pretty good match. So if we can find that material, then we're going to save the owner a ton of money on this project. And I think just as importantly, at least it's easy for me to say because it's not my money, but we're going to be preserving this original seat interior, which is really cool. You know, we like trying to preserve things that are nice when we can, and these are actually really nice, except this one area. Likewise, the back seat in here is really nice. Again, the padding on it is not great. I don't know why this isn't focusing. There it goes. The padding on it's not great, but you know, we talked about it. Nobody's really going to be sitting back there, and they do look really nice. So we're going to try and preserve all that. We still got to kind of figure out what we're going to do with the headliner, and then we're going to probably just go ahead and put in a new carpet kit and new door panels. But front and back seats, we're going to do our best to preserve and reuse those. The other thing that I did was I pulled the sill plate on this side. That's where the wiring harness that runs from the front of the car to the back. You can see it here off to the side. Normally that runs under there, so I went ahead and exposed that. So when I go to do the rewire, that's ready to pull the new one through there. So the other thing that we decided today when we talked is to just go ahead and rebuild this motor. I mean, you know, again, I mentioned that he said that it was, you know, running when it was parked 20, 30 years ago, but this motor literally leaks everywhere. I don't think there's hardly, well, maybe this area right here it wasn't leaking, but in all seriousness, yeah, it just doesn't really make any sense to try and clean this motor up and stick it back in the car with as leaky as it is. And you know, we're not really sure how wore out it is. We had talked about maybe doing a leak down test and kind of trying to fire the thing up, maybe even putting on the dyno and, you know, see if it's making about what it should. But I think this car is going to be a nice enough driver that, and the owner and I agree that let's just go ahead and rebuild it so it's not leaking all over the place. And then we know exactly the condition of it internally, and it's going to pretty much last him forever at that point. And then we decided the same thing on the transmission. I mean, this transmission, from the top, mostly it's just dirty, but from underneath, it's that nasty, greasy, grimy stuff that they get when they leak. Kind of hard to see, but you can kind of see down there, the whole bottom of the things like that. So it's just leaking all over the place. And again, you know, apparently it was running and driving, but you don't really know. The synchros on these go bad, and who knows. So we're going to go ahead and take the same approach with the transmission. While we've got it out, just rebuild it and be done with it, and it's going to be super nice, and the owner is going to get a lot of years of enjoyment out of it. So yeah, I went ahead and stripped down the motor today. As of yesterday, it was still a complete motor, so stripped it down to a long block today. It'll go off to Proformance, which is our guy that builds our motors. He's gonna come get it tomorrow, and then likewise, my transmission guy is gonna come get this puppy tomorrow. So yeah, these things are gonna be in their queues for their rebuild, and then in the meantime, more cleaning and stuff on the car. And we actually decided to go ahead and replace this sheet metal back here. I'm not going to crawl down on the ground and show underneath here, but underneath here it's all rotten out, which is why the current owner's dad had kind of put in this, actually did kind of a nice job. He cut this panel and riveted in there and so on. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and remove that and patch this all up properly. The panels are actually available from VW Parts and Restoration, or excuse me, Ghia Parts and Restoration. So yeah, we agreed. Let's just go ahead and do it right. There's some rust here and stuff, you know, above and beyond this area here. There's some other holes in it here and there. So we'll just go ahead and take care of it and do it right. And then kind of like the front, I'm probably going to, when we're done, probably do like the same undercoating here, and then we'll put a new firewall mat in, and it's going to look really nice. So I think that's pretty much it for today. You know, again, really good conversation with the owner. We kind of have a course of action here that we're going to take, and he's he's willing to spend maybe a little bit more than we had talked about at first, but you know, go ahead and make the car nice. And I give him options. Hopefully I don't feel like I was pressuring him one way or the other, but you know, I kind of told him my opinion, what I would do, and he agreed. And yeah, he wants it to be a nice car, so we're going to do it upright, and he's definitely going to have a nice car. So that is it for today. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.